Hey, what's going on everybody? This is going to be my series of legendary tutorials. I'm going to be starting off, of course, with the first level, Sierra 117. I'm going to jump straight into this. I'm going to be editing this playthrough with some video footage to show some alternate paths and stuff, but for the most part I'm going to be explaining everything, showing some alternate ways to approach things and everything that you need to know to get through Halo 3 on Legendary done fast. So we're going to be starting this out with Sierra.
Look up here, sir.
Oh yeah, it's important to note that I will be playing on 360 for this tutorial series.
Now down here?
But all the strategies that you guys learn can be used on Master Chief Collection.
Everything checks out, Sergeant Major.
Kick off the training wheels, Corporal. He's good to go. First squad, you're my scouts. Move out.
So Sierra 117 pretty much starts off with going forward here. What you want to do if you're doing full game runs is pretty much just go up to this guy, stun him once and then shoot him in the head. He will sometimes drop grenades and they can be very useful for the cave section later on this map. I'm actually going to go back here, and this is what I was talking about. I'm going to be doing this quite a bit in this video, cutting in some footage. You can actually take a sharp right here. You can also get through, of course you don't need the frag grenades if you're confident enough. You can also jump through here and kind of like walk around the wall. And again, the third option for the walking path is to be kind of like a mix of the two, to go forward a bit and then turn right. Again, you can do these. They are definitely options to consider. One or the other isn't as fast as the other one, but the other one is quite nice because you get some frag grenades from time to time. You won't always get them; they're not guaranteed drops. A lot of the opening on Sierra is just about the movement, and one way you can do that is to jump straight up onto that rock bit and go forward there. But there is another way that you can do it, and the second way you can do this is to jump on the rock and then jump up. It's all personal preference. You guys have got to get a feel for it. What suits you. All that over time. A lot of Sierra is about the movement, so it's about optimizing that as direct path as you can, cutting those corners, getting those little slide jumps like this one here. It doesn't save much frames, but it saves enough. And of course you can also just walk it. You don't have to do the slide jump. Okay, so we get a nice little checkpoint here, and there's a lineup for this rock jump. Now what this rock jump is going to do is it's going to skip quite a lot of enemies that are in the area to the left. You won't hear the dialogue come through, and you'll be able to just walk through it, and there will only be 3 grunts there. So on Legendary this is a really good jump. Basically what you guys need to look at when you look at this, right, is the rock on the left and the rock on the right, and there's kind of like a face that intersects both those rocks. So the lineup that you guys want to be looking for is, if you look where the cursor of the gun is right now, there's a bit of the left rock that kind of sticks out, and you've got like a little pointy bit. So you want to line the edge of your cursor up to that, and then just run and jump at the wall. And there's many ways to do this, and the first one, what you want to do is you just want to do the lineup that I'm trying to show you guys here, and then slide up it. So jump before the rock, of course, then get into the slide as you're going up the face. Don't crouch or anything like that until you hit the second jump. So you want to slide up it with a jump and then keep jumping, and then once you've got the second connection, then you can crouch and then keep jumping again to get on top of the second rock. A little something like this. And then it gets you into this area. The only grunts that will be alive are a few grunts in front. You won't hear the brute say, "Spread out, you whelps, find them." Okay, so this is the second way to do it. The second way is pretty similar, the same again, but this time you're going to be going to the left, and then you're going to be jumping to the right to break onto the second rock to come round. As you can see, there's no enemies there. And the third one is pretty much just to go around the left, and this is one of my favourites. This is what I like to do. So you're actually going around the left there, and you're waiting to jump late to get onto the second rock. Okay, now there's a few things to mention here. If you decide not to go for the brute shot, which is something we'll come back to later on, you can grab a brute shot in this area. For this time round, we're going to assume that you guys aren't doing that, and there's quite a few different ways to do slide jumps here. As you're jumping onto this rock and jumping down, if you catch the edge of it, you can then slide jump, and then there's other rocks that you can slide jump again, keep your momentum, and there's different ways that you can do this. You can take the left one and then slide jump left, and then come back around. It's just nice little movement optimizations. As you can see, the Phantom above is not dropping enemies in this area. Usually it'd be dropping a hell of a lot of brutes, a load of jackals and a load of grunts. Shout out to me missing this slide jump while I was recording this. You can go around the tree here, or I like to go through it. I don't know, again, just cutting those corners. It's not necessarily any slower. If you jump onto the right side edge of this rock, you go straight onto that face. If you don't catch that way, you might bob up and down if you miss it. Okay, so in the next area, important parts to mention here. There are 3 different areas where you can swap out your Magnum for a carbine. You're going to be needing the carbine unless you've decided to bring the brute shot with you to this section. Then you go with a plasma pistol and brute shot. For dropping the Magnum, this crate here has a carbine in. There is also one that's about here, just on the ledge, that you can drop down to, which you'll see in a minute. But the most important thing that I'm pausing the screen to show you guys is there is a grunt that will come. He will walk up and he will sit about here. What you need to make sure that you do is hug these crates and the wall as close as you can, otherwise he might wake up. If he wakes up, this section is going to be a little bit harder for you, especially on Legendary. The idea is just to go down this wall and hug it as close as you can so he can't see you, and he's kind of blocked off by the tree that's here. So let's get into this. Like I mentioned, there is a carbine to the right here. That's option 1. You can see the grunt to the left sitting down. Option 2 is to just drop at a diagonal and grab the one that's in the second box. Again, hugging the right side of the wall. There's also the third crate there. As you can see, they're all asleep, and that's what you want to be aiming for. Right, okay, so this section. Good thing to note is I got a bit lucky here, but usually you're going to get more jackals. You can see that there's one here. He will always spawn. This guy up the top will 100% spawn there, so you need to be watching out for him. But the other spawn locations for the jackal is the tree that you... let's see if I can go back a little bit. Okay, so this tree here, one can spawn here and one can spawn here. Sometimes you might even get both. So you need to make sure that you take them out. But do note that if you take out more than 2 or 3, you're going to get additional jackals spawning in on your exit from this area. So just try and prioritize the main threats jackal wise. So you can get 2 on that tree. You can also get 1 on this tree, and this guy will always spawn in. The brute's over here, and we're just going to ignore him. So you come down here, you take out any of the grunts that are in the area around the pipe. Usually there's like 2 or 3. We've got a nice little checkpoint here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this checkpoint as a tool to show you guys the many different jumps that there is to escape this area. The idea here being just to, like, not interact with any of the enemies in this area, apart from the ones that you need to, being the jackals on the way here, and the grunts on the floor. So the first jump out of is to come to this tree, and you want to kind of like get to the highest elevation just before the trunk of the tree, then jump up, crouch, and go forward. It will get you to the end of this pipe, and then you want to jump late. So you want to walk up the pipe, but jump late, and then kind of slide up the face. And that's the first way to exit, and you can kill that jackal as you leave, which is I do encourage you guys to try and get that shot off, because it will give you a checkpoint as you go around the corner into the next area. The second way to do this is to come over to the right here. This area in general, where I'm standing right now, is a very safe area, as well as the one that I was standing a minute ago to the left. The one to the left is a little bit more exposed. They can get some angles on you, but this one here is extremely safe. The only time that you're ever going to die in Legendary when you're here is if they chuck some rogue grenades and get lucky. The grunts on the floor. So this one, you want to come to the right, and you want to be aiming towards like the right side of the pipe, and like get in between the tree that's to the right and the pipe itself. And you want to crouch, obviously, as you're jumping. Otherwise, you will hit it and you won't get up. So once you're up here, you do the same again. And that's the second way to get out there. Now, if you're not comfortable with these jumps, they can be quite tricky for people who are quite new to the game. So, you know, if you think that you're confident, by all means, practice it, guys. You know, you'll be surprised. You'll be getting those jumps easy in no time. But, you know, if you want to start out, there are other jumps that you can do that are a little bit slower. There's a couple of crates. You can jump on either one of them. I'd probably suggest the one that you saw me jump on there. Again, come around this side and take that guy on your exit, and you'll get a checkpoint as you go through. So now I want to show you guys how to do this area with the brute shot. First and foremost, we're going to go back to the previous area and show you guys where you pick up the brute shot first. Okay, so back to this area, and you guys will remember that, you know, I was showing you some slide jumps off the rock in front. Now, to get the brute shot, you don't do those slide jumps, you just jump to the right here. You're going to then jump on this trunk, and here's the brute that will usually be triggering the dialogue. Quite nice, he actually drops a bubble shield sometimes, and same as before, you know, you just keep going forward, and there'll be nothing in this area. Right, so time for brute shot strats. I wouldn't recommend doing this one, but I wanted to put it into the video. You can come left here, ignore the grunt, he won't see you, do some slide jumps to get through. For any jackals that are on the trees, brute shot them and they'll fall down, or they'll be momentarily stunned. If you don't get shot by the grunts, it's worth noting you can do a brute shot jump up there. You aim against the floor and then jump up the pipe that I was showing you guys earlier. But don't do that in full game. It's just something you can do. Okay, so you ignore the carbines when you're coming the right side. Again, these jackals can be on the trees. The way you want to do this is, like I mentioned, just fire a couple and it will take him off. That guy up there you're going to have to ignore because you don't have ammo. So what you want to do here is you want to wait until your shield starts recharging and do that jump up that I showed you guys earlier, and escape the area. It is also worth noting that you can do the jump up that I showed you guys from this side. Again, I'd recommend for anybody new to the game just to wait to get your shields back, because sometimes it's completely unpredictable whether you're going to get shot or not. Going into this area, what you want to be doing here is prioritizing the jackal that's going to be in front. There are a couple of ways to do this jump here. First off, you can jump on this rock. So notice how sometimes the jackal behind will shoot at you. It can be a little bit annoying to get shot by the jackal that you ignore, so it is a strat to sometimes kill him. If you have a carbine in this area, you can take him out before you do the jump up. And if you have a grenade, you can also take him out, so I'm going to show that now. And the second way to do the jump up here is to do the slide. So you just slide up this face and then get over the top. Now sometimes I'm going to be covering both brute shot and carbine. So this is what would happen if you had the carbine. You'd want to come left a bit. You can also go to the right. There's different ways to do it. You can experiment if you want to. But the way that I suggest, if you come to the left here, keep an eye on, you got to keep an eye for the brute. Overcharge him. I missed, but I actually got quite lucky there. And if you have grenades, it is quite nice when you have more grenades than you need, because you can keep throwing them to make it more consistent to get through. Alright, so let's show a couple more cave clears. Also, worth noting, you don't actually have to kill this jackal, but it does help the consistency getting through this area. The jackal in front here, you have to kill 100% of the time, or it's going to be hard to get through. He'll shoot you in the back. Again, overcharging on the brute and throwing the grenade. The grunts around him will cower, and you can get that nice little reload on the brute shot ammo without having to, you know, spend the extra time trying to pick it up, because there will be other weapons around. You get the grunt dropping weapons. It's just nice. Some of you guys might be wondering why you'd want to bring the brute shot this far and not just pick up the carbine. The carbine is a nice way of clearing the jackals and the grunts in the previous area, especially if you're a new runner. The reason why I personally sometimes like to bring the brute shot through, and I wanted to include the brute shot footage, is because sometimes going through this cave section you can die very easily and very fast. And sometimes it's just a little bit of an annoyance to want to be able to pick up that brute shot and still escape the cave area without dying. You know, sometimes the grunts will even drop needlers around the brute shot. So instead of being a hold B to pick up brute shot, drop your carbine, it will be hold B to pick up needler, and you know, while the enemies are still shooting you. So just a quick mention, if you are new, completely new, I do recommend, you know, getting used to the with the carbine. Ignore the brute shot strats. I just wanted to include them. The more advanced strat here for this is to throw the grenade first. Sometimes the brutes can dodge left or right, and when they do dodge, the grenade that you've thrown at their feet will still hit them, and you do the overcharge of the plasma pistol shot after. So that if they have dodged, it will still track onto them and they will still die from the grenade, which has like a 1 or 2 second you know, delay before it explodes. A little something like that. So right here I got myself a checkpoint intentionally because I want to show you guys all the Cortana skip techniques and strategies that you can use. Basically, coming up there's a katana moment, and if you touch the ground before the trigger ends, you're going to get a katana moment flash up and you're going to be walking extremely slow. I will, as well as the initial rock jump, I would say that this area and the previous area of the pipe jumps are a few areas that you're going to want to practice with the jumps. You know, just spend like, I don't know, 10-15 minutes on each jump, and you'll get it to where you're hitting them more consistently. And don't forget, Sierra is the first level in full game speedrun, so you're going to be doing a lot of these jumps anyway. For the first way to skip this Cortana moment, you simply want to jump and then jump a little bit late and then face the wall. What you're looking for here is to be jumping on the top of this rock and then like to the left here of where this flare is, but you want to go quite far forward, and that will skip the moment. The second way to do this, and my personal favourite way, is again, you know, you've got the brute shot, you jump a little bit late, and then as you jump you want to start spamming those brute shots and it will get you onto the rock face to the right. That is my favourite way to do it. Make sure that your flashlight is turned on for this area because you need it to see the face that you're jumping on here. And the third way to do it, this is the hardest way to do it, but you can kind of like just jump and then jump on the edge of the rock, and it's kind of like you have to do like a little bit of a twist, and I find that quite hard. But you know, if you're good at jumping, that's a definite one to consider because it's very fast and you don't need to have any specific weapons to do that one. Right here, this is a very straightforward section. I will note, if you have the bubble shield at this point, it's, you know, it's quite nice, but you won't always have the bubble shield, so I'm going to be going through a few ways to make sure that you do have the bubble shield. You're going to want to be dropping out brute shot or carbine. Pick up the battle rifle here. It's a much better weapon, so much more accurate. So if you do have the bubble shield already, you're going to be doing a slide jump there, and quick note that you get a reload of your frag grenades right in this area, so you can see that the frag grenades are literally right in front of you. So you know, don't be afraid to use your frags before this part of the level because there's 3 right there. You can only pick up 2, and if you do have your last one, don't waste any of your bullets or your, you know, reloads. You don't want to be doing any of that. The grunt before, just simply as you do this slide jump, do it like so you're coming down the left side. You want to bounce here. You don't have to bounce inside that bit, and then just chuck the grenade down and it will take him out.
Break off now!
So if you don't have a bubble shield, what you want to be doing is you want to be overcharging this one, giving a bit of a headshot, make sure that the grunt's off the turret there, overcharge the second one, forget about the one to the left, because you are on a timer in this area to where the enemies coming up will be spawning in. And if you spend too much time in this area, it's going to be a really awkward exit. So if you don't have a bubble shield from the cave brute or those two brutes, you're kind of screwed. But you can get through this section without a bubble shield, so don't worry about it. Again, if you do have the bubble shield, you can do a slide jump here, throw the grenade down, off those barrels, off the ground, you know, get a nice reload on your battle rifle and your grenades there. Make sure that you kill these two sniper rifle guys or they will shoot you. And there is a couple ways to do this. I personally like to aim a brute shot down at the ground and jump up onto this little concrete bit. The other way to do it is to chuck a grenade and get up that way. Both achieve the same thing. And as you're coming off the rock there, try and jump on the outside of that tiny rock and give yourself a little bit of momentum boost. The brute will try to be shooting you. The other way, if you're taking heavy fire, go around the right side here, because you will take much less fire from the brute and the phantom, who sometimes shoots you and he sometimes doesn't shoot. And the third way to do it is to go on the left side here and again try and slide jump off that rock. So this is Sniper Alley, and all these jackals are in a predefined location. There is a certain amount of spawn points where they can spawn. They don't always spawn in the same place. You just basically have to memorize every single spawn point. So what you want to always be doing is looking to the right here. One can spawn with a beam rifle. You always want to take him out first. Then if there's one here, take him out. The one that's like through these rocks is very hard to get a shot off on. But he always drops down, but it's not to worry. There can be one where I shot there. So a guy in the tree there, and the guy who can drop down will be a little bit to the right here where you saw me shoot on the ground. Again, coming through this area, there can be one there. There can be two on this tree here, so as you can see there's one here, but sometimes there will also be one here. You need to be making sure that you're always looking left as you're coming here, because there's a guy with a sniper rifle and he can snipe and will kill you very fast if you don't notice him. Now, a good thing to note, if you decide to come from the left side and you decide to walk around this way and come in from this side, you need to be very careful, because he can come up here and snipe and you can barely see the top of his head, but he will somehow get a shot on you. So I mostly recommend you guys coming down the right side here, taking the shot on the two jackals that can spawn on the tree to the right, and make sure that you have a shot for this guy, who doesn't always spawn here, but he can be an extra beam rifle guy who can wreck your stuff. So just make sure you take him out. There isn't always a guy here, but this is one of the in the next area there's a total of 5 jackals possible, and there's again a few different spawn points, and you will never get the same amount or positions every single time you do this. Again, it's random. There can be one here, you want to take him out, you want to come quickly to the left, and there can be one here. Again, he doesn't always spawn there, but more often than not he does. Make sure you take him out. He's taken a hell of a lot of headshots here, and right here is where the second sniper rifle guy can spawn, and more often than not you will get both these guys spawning, so you want to make sure that you are looking always at the left guy here and the top guy here, because they will snipe you and kill you very fast. The guy on the left here doesn't always spawn, and the guy at the top here doesn't always spawn, but they can spawn. I got all 5 there. It's a good thing to note. And I will say this area you are going to have to spend quite a little bit of practice time on. Of all the jumps in Sierra, the gap jump, as this is called by a lot of the Halo 3 speedrunners, is probably the most trickiest jump. well, the most trickiest common jump anyway that you're going to be wanting to master to go fast in this section, because essentially there are a hell of a lot of enemies in this area and we're going to be skipping 90 to 95% of them. So if I'm just going to go back here a tad, as you're coming up this ramp, make sure that you've always got eyes to the jackal that's coming forward here with the carbine. Just make sure that you take him out. He can sometimes be it looks like he's not there, but if you go a little bit further forward, sometimes he can, be slow to come out, and he will be hiding behind that. So just make sure that he's not there. Once you know that he's dead, or once you know for sure that he's not there, just make sure that you look. There are a couple sniper rifle guys. There's a sniper rifle guy here, and there's a sniper rifle guy in the corner here. You can't really see it because my gun's blocking it. Maybe if I turn to the right. Okay, so sniper rifle guy here, and a sniper rifle guy here. Carbine guy here. It is a strat to sometimes, stand here and take these guys out. But the problem is, if you do that, you're going to have a lot of enemies that are coming across the bridge here and then are going to come into this area. The reason I say, for the most part, what I suggest is to go as fast as you can, because the idea is to make it so where you're going so fast that they're shooting and on other targets and they're not really noticing you. Now, I'm going to do this once and show you guys the general idea of what we're doing here, and then I'll explain it afterwards. Then you take out the sniper rifle guys once you've made the jump successfully. If you try and take them out in the before the jump, it's a very long shot with the battle rifle, and you might be taking a lot more ammo shots to kill them. They might even snipe you because you can be missing easily. It's a very long shot, so I'd recommend doing the jump first and then taking them out. Just make sure that you're going fast, and it's the most optimal way to do it. So this is me showing that you can make that shot, but I do recommend not doing it. And the reason why I say that, like I've already said, is because the other snipers will now be alerted because you've shot your gun. You've shot your gun, so they're not going to be honed in on the other enemies' AI, friendly AI that's around in the area. Now that you've shot your gun, they're more likely, to be aiming at you while you're making the jump and snipe you. It's not always the case, but it pretty much will happen. Okay, so basically the way that I do this jump is I come a little bit further forward here. I sway once to the left and then slide up. And then as I'm coming down, at the peak of my jump, I will throw the grenade down. As you can see there, it will bounce off the wall, and then as you are landing, you're slide jumping and it will propel you across, and that's how you make the gap. If you have the bubble shield, it's great, because the ones on the far right, he won't be able to shoot you because you've deployed the bubble shield. You can even deploy the bubble shield mid-air to prevent him from shooting you as you're crossing the gap. Again, taking out these guys, easy as that.
You gotta catch him.
Now, I will also mention that when you do this, you don't necessarily have to have the bubble shield. It's not the end of the world. I will be honest though, it took me like 2 years before I was confident enough to be doing this level in full game speedruns without the bubble shield. I've only now just got to the point where I'm confident that I can, get past this area without having a bubble shield. But, if you try and sway left and hold left, you can make it. You do need to get a little bit lucky, but you don't necessarily need the bubble shield. It's just it's very nice if you do have it as a precaution to make sure that you don't get hit and to make sure that you get across. And this is what I wanted to mention here. Sometimes you can get shot by the far sniper. It can happen. If it does happen, it's not a problem because the checkpoint is extremely close, and that actually is very rare if you're going this fast to be shot by the fast sniper rifle. Most of the time, as you can see, these Marines here, those are the enemies that they're going to be looking at for the most part.
On breakfast, you gotta catch it.
Okay, so I want to break this down one last time for you guys. Shoot that jackal across and slide up here. As you're about to fall down, throw the grenade. Throw the grenade at the peak of your jump just as you are starting to fall down. It will come off the wall and then you will touch the ground, start sliding across, and the grenade explosion will then happen and propel you across. Again here, if you have the bubble shield, throw it. You know, there's no reason not to. If you don't have the bubble shield, like I mentioned, you can get across. Make sure that you hold left if you don't have the bubble shield. Throwing the grenade there can make sure that those grunts don't shoot you. And one thing I will mention is, as you're going through that cave, make sure that you're killing the jackals in front of you. Whether you're doing it by shooting them with a battle rifle, beating them down, the most optimal way is to use a couple of brute shots, you know, and stun them, and then maybe finishing up with the battle rifle. Basically, just make sure that they're kind of like cleared out of the way. You don't have to shoot them, but sometimes Johnson can get stuck behind, which can be really annoying. So when you're here, just make sure that you're, you know, trying to kill these jackals as best you can. In this section, for some reason my footage cut, but basically he will go through here and then he will disappear and teleport into the next area, and that's what you want to happen. If he does get stuck and you go through without him and hit the cutscene, the game will softlock. Okay, so the last area here, you're going to hit a cutscene, and I'm going to mention hold back here as you're coming out. The reason why I wanted to pause it as I was explaining this is because you guys wouldn't have seen it, but holding back, I believe this makes it to where that the enemies are less likely to see you because you spawn back in a little bit further back. When you spawn back in here, you are over this ridge. This is the first way to do it, is to jump on this rock and do a little slide jump down. Sometimes you'll get shot, sometimes you won't. You just got to try and make sure that you get through. The second way to approach getting down into this area, again, you don't want to shoot anybody, you just want to make sure that you get through. Shooting is not necessarily, you know, until you've basically freed Johnson. You can go down the left side and just walk it. Again, you know, I'm not quite sure why the first time I got ashore, but that time I didn't. It's complete luck. But you can make these optimizations to make sure that you try and get through. The most safe way, I feel like, because you can get a checkpoint here, is to take the far right route. It's a little bit slower, but you know, you get a checkpoint and you're basically sure to get through. That sniper that I zoomed in across can shoot you. You can also be getting shot here by a carbine. So I like to jump diagonally to make sure that you don't get shot by the snipers or the carbine guys as you're getting through here. Here's the first strat that I like to use. You can jump on this box here, then jump up, but make sure you're aiming when you're doing that final jump up. Use the brute shot to break a bit of the barrier there, and then keep going. This gives you a guaranteed checkpoint. This is why this strat is so good, because right here you will get a guaranteed checkpoint. The reason why I mention it is because if you get into the fighting section after you free Johnson in a minute, and don't get a checkpoint, you can get reverted all the way to the top of the ridge in the previous area. So there's the guaranteed checkpoint, and then what you want to do is you want to jump up, break through, make sure that you kill the guy that's on the Phantom first with the turret, or they take you out, take out the second sniper in the area, and then jump straight through into this. I missed it, but I'm going to show it to you guys one more time. Still broke the grass, so you can get through, but yeah, make sure that you take out that guy and the one that's with the sniper rifle, and jump straight through and free Johnson straight away. Now there's more areas to get to this, and what I want to do is I want to get back to this section. and show you the alternate ways to get to Johnson to free him. So if you want, you can shoot that guy right there, and this will make it to where you don't have to shoot him on the way through. You need to be careful because the brutes can kind of like bunch up around here and kill you. The second way to do this is to like come through here. You may need to use a few of your weapons, a few of your grenades. Throw a grenade in between these two columns and make it explode on the edge. Hopefully this will make it to where some of this falls down. If you don't, use your remaining brute shot jumps and then jump on the flap of that and then jump through. So I'm going to break that down one more time. You throw the grenade there so it basically kind of like bounces a little bit off there and then comes to explode about here. Sometimes it will make this flap come down and kill some of the the glass around. But if it doesn't, it's not a big deal. You want to fire one there and again another one. This will break the glass around and it will make it to where the flap comes down. And to make the flap stop moving, you want to jump onto it and just kind of like drag the Chief's player model down, and that will make it stop moving. You then want to crouch and then jump through. Crouch, walk, jump, and you will get through the wall.
Be right there.
And this is the third way to do it. This is the more classic way. So, if you have bought a plasma pistol into this area, you can, do that. A lot of the players have. You want to make sure that you take that guy out. Make sure that you take those guys out because they will take your entire shield down. You can pause here for a couple seconds. Come around the corner, and now the brutes will sometimes be gone, but sometimes they will also still be here. Occasionally they will take a little bit longer to walk round the left side of the hut where you free Johnson. And the way to get in this way is just to, throw a plasma charge, throw a grenade if you have to, and just BR them to get through. I'd recommend doing the first or second strat, but I wanted to include this way just to make sure that I've covered them all. Alternatively, you can jump up and then break into it that way. I don't really recommend doing that because you can get sniped, but it is another option to consider. Okay, so once you are in this area, sometimes you can, fight your way out of the inside. You want to make sure that you pick up a plasma pistol, and if you have any remaining brute shots, make sure that you fire it at these grunts. Sometimes they can throw grenades at themselves inside bubble shields that the brutes deploy. Occasionally you will get a little bit lucky, but you want to make sure that you throw grenades at these guys and overcharge them. Try and kill as many as you can. Be wary of the Chieftain. The fresh plasma pistol is in the top left of that crate. If you came in with a brute shot, you're going to want to grab that straight away. And I do want to mention that you can actually jump out of this section. It's not easy to do, but you want to be jumping in at an angle. When we came in, we had the lip to kind of guide us through, so I hit it there. Most of the time the Chieftain will be prioritizing himself on Johnson, but sometimes it is good to note that he can change his tracking to you if you're closer to him, and it's just something to keep in mind. So that was killing the Chieftain with a back smack while he was honing into Johnson, but I want to show you guys what will happen when he's honing onto you. Sometimes he will do that swing forward, which is very predictable. You go to the left, you wait for him to go past you, then you give him a back smack. Again, while you're in this area, make sure that you've killed the sniper rifle guy that's sometimes above here, sometimes to the left. If he's not there, it's quite possible that he's ran ahead and you won't see him, but just keep him in the back of your mind. Try and take out these enemies here as fast as you can, again using the noob combination. of the plasma pistol and the carbine to take him out. Okay, so this is the early pelican. What I'm going to be doing here is explaining to you guys how to set this up. It is ideal to have the invincibility, but you don't always need it. Note that the phantom in the right can shoot you, so it is nice to have the invincibility, because doing it this way never really guarantees you escaping. I actually found the jackal hiding, crouching up there. So again, just make sure you've got eyes on him if you haven't already killed him. So one more time, leg to the left, throw the grenade, back, and then hammer. Make sure you're holding B and you'll get in. So basically, what I'm wanting to show you here is where it is, right? So you want to be in front of this box here. There's like a little white line, and then the crack that you're looking for is like a little bit to the left of it. So it's very easy to find the right one. Like I mentioned earlier, you can be getting shot, so make sure that you activate the invincibility if you have it. The last thing that I want to mention here with the early pelican is if you're coming into this section and you're already looking to the right, but stay behind this box for a little bit of cover, and you will see the phantom come in, so you can actually jump to where you need to before Johnson says focus phantom. Again, use the same lineup, activate the invincibility, do the jump, and get into the phantom, and that'll be the end of the level. Now, if you're not comfortable with this jump, there is much other ways to do it. Okay, so we're going to be going back to the fighting for the alternate way to end this level. Sometimes I wanted to clip this in because the boxes can sometimes be hit over. Once you've killed the chieftain, if you get his hammer, hit them, and that will expose the carbines. Again, make sure that you've got the plasma pistol. So what we're going to do is we're going to fast forward a bit here. Okay, so back to doing this without doing the early pelican, and I'm gonna show you guys. This is more the beginner-friendly way how to finish this level out. Again, if you've got brute shot ammo, just try and use the edge of this room as cover. Waste all your brute shot ammo. Take out any of the brutes that are there, any of the grunts that haven't killed themselves with their own grenades. Keep an eye on the chieftain as much as you can. Make sure that you pick up a fresh carbine, and again, the plasma pistol is in the top left of this crate. If he hones into Johnson, like I mentioned earlier, it's a very predictable swing. Just make sure that you judge it right. So once you've killed him and taken out as many of the enemies as you can through the windows, you want to immediately come around the back here and start taking off these grunts as they're trying to escape. The trigger for Hocus Phantom will come with a dialogue much faster the quicker you take out these enemies. So the faster you take out all these enemies, the quicker it will happen. Just make sure that you're trying to take them out as much as you can as they're coming round the corner. Something that I do want to mention is you can make the long range shots. You're too far away to track in, but again, the brutes moving forward is very predictable as they come down the stairs, so it is entirely possible to make those shots.
Focus! Phantom!
I see him.
As soon as Johnson says that dialogue, you can start moving up.
Going loud. Everyone down.
If you save the invincibility, which you do want to do for this section, if the chieftain has dropped a flare, you basically just want to kill these enemies as fast as you can, but wait there for about 5 seconds until he says scratch 2, go forward, and then just jump into the pelican as it comes in. So there we have it, guys. This was Serial 117 on Legendary. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, hope to see you guys next time.